Being Your Best You with Dr. Kier Adept and Dr. Kevin Richardson. Have you ever had a day, an hour, a moment when you knew exactly who you are, in the right place, and knowing what you need to do? Would you like to feel the power and presence of being you at your best all the time? Almost all problems around health, wealth, relationships, and purpose can be solved when you are restored to you. And Dr. Kier and Dr. Kevin are here to show you how. Dr. Kier uses Geotran human programming, human design, and activations to quickly and easily release you from the automatic patterns and inner glitches that block your healthy, wealthy, happy life. Dr. Kevin is a clinical hypnotherapist with decades of experience in releasing the subconscious fears, beliefs, and habits that cause or contribute to experiences you no longer wish to have. Dr. Kevin specializes in releasing obesity and your blocks to success. Dr. Kier and Dr. Kevin are both passionate about helping people improve their lives in person, by phone, or on Zoom. Yes, it's as easy to change your life long distance as it is in person. So, join the paradox as Dr. Kier and Dr. Kevin discuss their different approaches to clearing your subconscious and restoring you to you with speed, efficiency, and a sense of humor. It's time for Being Your Best You with Dr. Kier and Dr. Kevin. The Paradox. Welcome to the show.
Hello, this is Dr. Kier Adept. I am the director and whatnot of Adept Activations, the creator of Adept Activations, actually. And you can check out my work on my website, which is adeptactivations.com. And you can also always reach me at Dr. Kier Adept, all is one word, at gmail.com. And I have a Facebook presence, of course. And we completely failed to mention any of this in the last taping. So there we go. And today we are going to be talking about being your best you, as we always do, with Dr. Kevin Richardson, who is a certified clinical hypnotherapist. He also can be reached on Facebook, and also he has his own website, which is kevinrichardsontherapy.com. And here he is. I'm getting the hang of which way to point. We've done this before. Can you tell? So we were talking with our absolutely lovely producer, Angie B., in between tapings, and she mentioned that there had been some questions from the peanut gallery. Apparently there are, I think, people who watch this even as we do the taping. Isn't that just marvelous? And one person came up with the question of belief. And belief is a very intricate topic, and it's very central to what both of us do. Yeah? Correct. It's central to what both of us do because, well, okay, let's start a little further back. Right. I want you to picture that you have a pyramid. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this pyramid, there are actually 72 of them, but that's a whole other different question. Pyramid. Okay. Bottom bit is the physical. Middle bit is the psyche, the soul, what you think, feel, believe, and desire. Top pointy bit is the spirit. Okay. Now, there's never anything wrong with your spirit. Your spirit's already redeemed. Your spirit's fine. Just leave it alone. And in an ideal world, if you are working correctly as a human being, you get information that governs your spirit. Yeah, so it
Mhm.
actually comes from, those guys. And and that spirit then tells you what to think, feel, believe, and desire. And whatever you're thinking, feeling, believing, desiring, whether it's on the conscious or the subconscious, and we all know that 90 to 95% is going on in the subconscious, that then creates or attracts or is attracted to whatever's happening in the physical. So if you've got something going on in the physical, in the sensory realm, that is not really what you felt you ordered, firstly, send it back to the kitchen. And secondly, look at what's going on in that level above. Einstein himself said we cannot solve a problem at the level of thinking that created it. That's what he's referring to.
Mhm.
So, this whole issue of belief and what you believe and how you believe is actually really, really central to how you're creating your life, because it's one of the things going on in the psyche that then conditions your physical, your sensory experience. Now, and belief specifically acts as a filter to everything that's going on for you. So, we've all heard the expression, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. No, works the other way round. You will see it once you believe it. The belief is what is allowing whatever that thing is. So let's take a topic that is dear to all our hearts, money. We all grow up with a lot of beliefs about money. It's probably the thing that we are most conditioned about in our early life, socially, culturally, even on a religious level. Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is compare and contrast, for instance, how most Christians think about money and how most Jews think about money. It's really different. So if we are, even if in our conscious mind we're saying, well, we live in an infinite universe, and that universe is wanting to support me, and I can absolutely picture money flowing in from 24 different directions, and with ease and grace, we can be saying that as much as we like. But if we have beliefs that say money doesn't grow on trees, life is a struggle, money is wrong, you can't be spiritual and have money. I mean, I was actually seeing on Facebook the other day somebody in the kind of spiritual realm basically saying, "Oh well, the love of money is the source of all evil." Now, there is actually a piece of scripture that says the love of money. She actually said money is the root of all evil. The scripture says the love of money is the root of all evil, and what it means, as far as I can see, is that when we put something in front of God or spirit, if we worship money rather than God or spirit, yes, that is the root of all evil, in the sense that we as a human race have this belief in lack
Mhm.
and not enough. So if we revert to that lower belief system, you're not going to see the money flowing in. Sorry, I don't care how many times you say it or see it or affirm it or on the conscious level work with that. Unless you clear out that other belief that's blocking it, hey, 90% unconscious, 10% conscious, which is going to weigh more. This is not hard to understand.
That does. Yeah.
So you've got to believe it first. Now that's just an example. Let's take other examples that are a little more subtle. I truly believe. Okay, am I going to open my mouth and say something that's really, really true at the highest level for me? Let's find out. I truly believe that I am a remarkable and lovable person. At least I believe that consciously. But I had a lot of training when I was a kid
Mhm.
that never first, always second, not lovable, never get it right. I could go on, unfortunately.
Oh, we all
Yeah.
can. We all can.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's conditioning, not just who I will attract to me and who I will be attracted to, but let's say some fabulous, glorious person who happens to have been born on October the 21st, 1969 at 9:45 a.m., and there's the long story behind why I'm going for that particular date and time, finds me, is attracted to my utter fabulousness, yeah? Until I clear out that other crap, I'm not even going to notice.
Right.
Because my normality is that people find me too much. I mean, you can't really imagine that, can you, Dr. Kevin? I mean, me? Moi?
You
Too emotional,
never.
too intense, too quirky, too sharp. Yeah? So it's up to me to correct my belief system and my filing system that's saying all this because it's been reflected back to me over the years. So that I am actually open to the person who looks at me and says, I cannot imagine that other people have not seen you before now.
Right.
Once I believe that, then I can see as significant the person coming to me with that message.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't do it unless I change those beliefs first. So,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you can come up with heaps of examples from your own life and your clients.
Oh,
So much easier. So much easier to see with the clients, isn't it? Now,
yes.
So Angie, our lovely producer, hi Angie. Angie said that there was a question which is about belief in general. Now, I'm talking about specific beliefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the way that beliefs operate in our system, yeah, is something that's well worth looking at. And now I'm assuming, I could be totally wrong. I'm sure that Angie will correct me if I am getting this wrong. That when this person says, I'm going to assume it's a woman, I don't know that it is, but when this gal says, I struggle with belief, what does that actually mean? Now, I'm going to assume that this is actually in a religious or spiritual context. She's not saying I struggle with a belief that the sun is shining above the clouds. I'm assuming she's not going to struggle with a belief in the law of gravity, yeah, or those kinds of conditions. I think the question must be about a belief in God. I could be wrong, but let's play with it just in case I'm right. Yeah.
Let's go there.
Yeah, let's go there. Okay, and there's a reason that seems very good to me about why we should go there. Okay. As we were talking about in the last program, which of course I'm sure you all saw, and the replays are available on my YouTube channel and also on Angie B's various channels and in our group, Being Your Best You, on Facebook. And we were talking about beyond prayer. So go look it up. And so one of the things I mentioned there is something that I talk about quite a lot, which is our operating system as human beings. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If your system is set up correctly, if it is running correctly as it was designed to do, then your operating system is faith, and the backup operating system is patience.
Mm-hmm.
When faith fails, we go to patience. And we can all see that day to day. Now, when we talk about faith in that respect, I'm not talking about a specific religious faith. I'm not talking about faith in Islam or faith in Christianity or faith in Judaism or faith in Buddhism or faith. That's not what I mean by faith. And in fact, that use of faith is peculiarly American. That's not the way any other culture that I've lived in uses that word faith. What is your faith? Yeah. And that's not how I'm using it here. What I mean is, to what extent are you in alignment with divine intelligence, with the truth and light that are the substrate of the entire universe? Right? Now, in the Vedas, they talk about the sea of silence.
Mm-hmm.
Everything exists in the sea of silence. In Geotran, we talk about the field, and the field is made up of data, your records, and energy. Right? So information, energy. And so when I talk about faith, I'm talking about the knowing that the universe is, in a larger than human sense, a benevolent place. Now, Einstein talks about that substrate being love, and he means divine love. He doesn't mean the quirkiness that we call love when we're directing at another person,
Yeah.
which heaven knows is interesting enough to have to deal with. Yeah. No, he's talking about the same love that I'm talking about when I talk about glory. So I'm going to talk about glory for a minute, just so that we're all on the same page from a linguistic perspective.
Mhm.
Okay, glory, the glory of God, my teacher said over and over again, the glory of God is intelligence. And intelligence is truth and light. And above every glory is a higher glory, which means above every light is a higher light, and above every truth is a higher truth. So truth and light both look different according to what level you are at. Now, for me, this melds beautifully with spiral dynamics, which talks about the psychological evolution both of individuals and cultures. Now, it is an ascension program, and most of our larger, more influential religions are also essential religions. Yeah, it says we're always trying to get higher. We always want more light, more truth. Okay. So when we talk about glory in the geotran world, what we've been taught is that we are here to glorify God and to glorify each other. Now, what does that mean? Okay, this is going to work back around to faith. Trust me on this. Okay, so that means we see God, that higher intelligence, and we see ourselves as God sees us. We are always identifying with the parts of God that exist in us. So if we look at God as a batch of bread dough, and what with COVID, we've all been learning how to make bread again, right? Also, then my personal favorite is Italian fresh rosemary olive oil bread. Okay, but I digress. So we're looking at God and we're saying God is the bread dough, and I'm a bread roll, you're a bread roll, you know, and we're saying I am that. Yeah, I'm not that lower version, I am that higher version. So every day, I'm going to actually bring up my page where I say this so that I can get it right. Just will take me a quick second. Here we go. This is like, I have a starter page for every day in my journal, which of course I'm online because I'm a computer person. I am brilliant. I am cherished. I am resourceful. I am exuberant. I am a chatelaine. I bet you didn't know God was a chatelaine, but now you do. I am turquoise. This refers to a certain level in spiral dynamics. I am peculiar. God calls on us to be peculiar, set aside for certain things. I am exceptional. I am precious. I am God's daughter. Right? That's what I am affirming every day. I am saying, I am that. I am that I am. Now, those of us who've been trained in the Judeo-Christian tradition know that when Moses came down from the mountain, well, when Moses was up on the mountain, he says to God, who shall I say sent me? And God says, I am. You need a leader? I am that. You need a healer? I am that. You need a provider? I am that. I am that. I am.
Mm-hmm.
See, so that's what I'm doing. I am reflecting that back. I'm saying, I am that. Now, that is glorifying God. And the way the cycle works is that I am glorified in turn. Now, when I look at you, or maybe to spare your blushes, Kevin, if I look at Angie, our lovely producer, And I say, wow, Angie, I just love that you are intelligent, that you are thoughtful, that you are responsive, that you are in this service place for these programs that you produce for us and for other people as well. I am seeing the God in Angie and I am glorifying it. That is, I am loving it with that larger divine love. And that's what we're here to do, amongst
Mhm.
other things. But that's the big one, is to glorify God and each other.
Mhm.
That takes us to that higher level, that higher frequency, that higher vibration, that whatever. That's faith for me.
Mhm.
That's faith. That's saying, this is how the universe works. I know it. It's beyond belief. Yeah, belief says, I think I know this. I'm pretty sure this is the case. Faith is saying, mm-mm-mm. Faith is saying, oh, this is it. And if that fails me, I go to patience. Not really my strong suit, truth to tell. In human design, I am a generator. So are you, Dr. Kevin.
Yeah.
And our default is frustration.
Mhm.
So we have to remember to be patient. Yeah. Still, when faith fails, patience is the backup. That's our operating system. Now, when you get to a certain level in the human experience, we have an added operating system, right? So it's like we're going from Unix to a Mac, or the way Unix fans would say, we're going from a Mac to Unix. They work together. Is what my point.
Yeah.
You know, needless to say, my buddy, the physics professor, is a Unix fan. So this is how I know about these things.
Yeah.
Um, and don't get him started about Microsoft. No, let's not. Okay, so uh, where was I? Faith. Oh, yes, faith and patience. And then the next level up is grace and obedience. Okay. Now I'm going to define those terms because it's really, really important that you understand. Okay. Obedience, that's the one people find very tricky, especially in the US. Not so much other places, in my experience. Obedience means, and only means, is this in alignment with my divine blueprint? That's it. It's not about the state. It's not about the government. It's not about your religion. It's not about your church. It's not about your parents. It's not about the army. It's not about any of that stuff. Is this in alignment with who I came here to be, what I came here to do? Now, doesn't that make it easier? And
Mhm.
this is what we're checking with the muscle testing. Is it obedient? So usually the first thing I have to do when I start working with people who are not that familiar with this usage of the word is I do a whole bunch of positive points to de-stress their automatic when I talk about obedience.
Yeah.
Because sad to say, because of course they suggest this to me all the time, it says obedience is the word that opens up that file. So if you have a problem with that concept of obedience, please get over yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So that's the obedient part. Now, as an operating system, it's like me always asking, I mean, all the time for everything, is this obedient? Does this check for me? Does it check for me to have one of those homemade mocha truffles that I made day before yesterday for my breakfast? Is this obedient? And very good it was too. When the only thing in your fridge is eggs, butter, and chocolate, then until you go shopping, you make chocolate truffles. What can I tell you? Okay, obedience. Now, let's look at grace, which is another, I think, frequently misunderstood concept. Dorothy, my teacher Dorothy, always said that grace is the pleasure God feels when his or her generosity is being appreciated by us. It's a relationship thing. So grace says that God, spirit, higher intelligence, whatever word you want to use, I do not care, says that there is always a generosity of the universe. The question is, are you paying attention? Are you noticing it? Are you allowing it? Are you receiving it? That grace. So here's an example. Oh, what an interesting question. And a question that is just like so diametrically opposite how I think about beliefs. Okay. We'll get to that in a second. So
Yeah.
grace. So Dorothy always said, for example, if she had a student who was saying, oh, I think I did that bit of Geotran wrong. She says, don't worry, there's always grace. Yeah. So you're saying to the universe, okay, I'm gonna reset my self-esteem, but I got it slightly wrong. The universe says, not a problem, we know what you meant. It's okay. Now, if you keep making the same mistake over and over again, that's a habit.
Yes.
Yeah. But in general, there's grace. There is this generosity, there's this ease, and you get to plug into that. Okay. So now let's get back to belief. Okay. Because belief and faith are not the same thing. Belief says, here's my filter for this experience.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I consider significant about whatever sensory impression just went whoosh. And this is really important to understand this about yourself because we have like 50,000 sensory experiences in any given day. Which are the ones you think are significant for you? They're the ones that line up with your beliefs. And those beliefs are in general in the subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
And they can be changed. They can be changed.
Yep, they can.
So the reason I think that question does not match up with what I think belief is being about, that is to say, the question was, does hypnosis reinforce belief? It's like hypnosis, thank you. Does hypnosis help reinforce belief? What belief? Are you talking about a conscious belief, an unconscious belief? Hypnosis is great at aligning the conscious and the unconscious, that's for sure.
Right.
But the ability to believe, you have that anyway. That's not something that needs to be reinforced. Is the actual question, I have a belief that I wish to have that is beneficial to me, that I have in both the subconscious and the unconscious, but somehow I'm unable to stabilize it. If that's the question, I, of course, should not be answering for you, but I'm going to. If that's the question, it seems to me that hypnosis will help reinforce that.
It can. It
It
can.
can. If that's what you're choosing, if that's what your intention is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? But theoretically, if it's reinforcing belief, then it could as easily reinforce the belief that you're a no good, low down dog.
And that's where it gets tricky with hypnosis.
Exactly.
Because we do no harm. And if you're talking about a particular type of belief, then from my perspective, we need to talk about it first. And then we need to talk about what do you want to change in that belief.
Yeah.
And sometimes beliefs are based upon faith. They tend to be abstract, but also beliefs can be very concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that's grass out in the front of your yard?
Yeah.
In my house, being in the desert, gravel is what we have. Water is important. You know, our belief is that we need to save water at all costs, being in the desert. So, but you have to believe in hypnosis before you can reinforce a belief.
Ooh, lovely paradox. And, Dr. Kevin, Dr. Kier, we're really good at paradox.
We're real good at paradoxes.
We're really good at that.
So, part of what a hypnotherapist will do is assess your level of belief in that it's going to work for you. Because if you don't think it's going to work for you, it's not. It won't. So you have to start with the belief that by going into the subconscious, we can make changes. So that's a core belief before you can even start hypnotherapy.
And here's another place where this little Venn diagram of belief and hypnotherapy and earphone and obedience kind of meet in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, have you ever stopped to consider firstly, most people don't even know what most of their own beliefs are. But secondly, where they came from, which is typically outside yourself. And thirdly, with the other gripping hand, is it obedient? Is that belief obedient? Does that belief, whatever it is, the belief that the sky is purple, okay, orange, does that belief, is that obedient for you? Is that bringing you into better alignment with your divine blueprint, which you agreed between you and God, or you and spirit, or whatever words you want to use, I don't care, before you even came into this body?
Mm-hmm.
And
if you live on Mars, it is an orange sky.
Well, exactly.
So,
exactly. I mean, context definitely matters in this case. Yeah. So if I were going to you, Dr. Kevin, saying, I want you to reinforce my belief. Well, firstly, of course, I wouldn't actually be saying that because of all those definitions I just laid on top of y'all. But if I did, I am imagining, and you need to tell me, that you'd be going to a pretty similar place to where place I would go if somebody came to me and said, I want to reinforce my belief. First question I'd be having is, which belief are you talking about?
Yeah, which belief are you talking about?
And is this a generalized belief? Is this a specific belief? Is this a belief that's obedient for you? Is this a belief that's even your belief? Are you running somebody else's belief on this topic? I mean, once again, if we look at the topic of money, oh my gosh, we just soak up like sponges from social beliefs and religious beliefs and all the rest of it, and we do that in every area of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Health, wealth, relationships. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have stripped out. I actually learned the French word for this the other day. Stripped out beliefs that are affecting your health.
Mm-hmm.
We have this natural assumption that whatever's going on in here, especially at the soul level, especially in your psychology, actually belongs to you. And 80% of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
So a little healthy cynicism would be really appropriate around now. Just even to ask yourself, well, wait a minute, is that me? Have you ever, Kevin, have you ever opened your mouth and said something and had your spouse look at you and say, who just said that?
All the time.
All the time. I mean, I'll say something, I'll go, wait a minute, where did that come from? That's not.
Did I actually say that out loud? And everybody's with, eyes open, aghast.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I did.
The funny thing is there are actually people, my friend Michael's grad student, he's only got this one remaining grad student who's an absolute delight. And he's coming to dinner tomorrow night. Yes.
Oh, yay.
And in human design, he is a sounding board authority. Now, you and I are both sacral authority. And people who don't know what human design is, that's totally okay. But sacral authority says we listen to the gut. So we're really good at muscle testing because basically muscle testing is listening to the gut. This guy has the rarest form of authority. It's called sounding board authority. He needs to talk to other people, not to hear their advice or opinions, but to see what comes out of his mouth. Can you imagine? Now, what does that have to do with belief? He doesn't know what he believes until he hears it come out of his mouth. And the only way that that can really happen effectively for him is if there's somebody listening, if there's a witness.
He's an auditory learner.
Right. So, it just makes me wonder how much there aren't many people with that authority. It really is a very small percentage. But just in general terms, for the person asking the question, saying, I have a problem with belief. What do you hear when you say that?
For me, when I pose the question, what belief are we talking about?
Exactly.
Because our entire life is built upon beliefs from what we've learned from our parents, our grandparents, our heritage, school
Genetic
reinforcement,
contaminations, cultural stuff.
cultural stuff. School teaches beliefs. They teach traditions.
Perfect example. When I was in France, I went and had dinner with my French friend. And he was late. He's always late, but he was really late. And so it was 8:30 by the time he got to his place. And I live in the Midwest the rest of the time, and I'm used to eating at 6.
Yeah.
So I'm starving by this time. I'm out of temper because he's late again. And because he got tied up with a whole bunch of stuff, that means that he hadn't done any food prep. So we're not going to eat until 9 at the absolute earliest. So, okay, I'm being polite in terms of what I've been taught. I'm sitting in his sitting room. He's in the kitchen. I'm keeping out of his way. Seems like the polite thing to do, keeping out of his way. Okay, so I happen to know where the wine glasses are kept. So he gets out the bottle of rosé, and I get out a couple of wine glasses and little coasters and all that good stuff. And I pour some to each of us, and I put his within reach where he is in the kitchen, and I retreat to the sitting room and have a sip of my wine. This set him off.
Oh.
I have taught you how French people do an aperitif, and it's not like that. You have to, at the same moment, each of you has to have the wine glass by the stem. You have to look in each other's eyes. You have to clink the glasses. You have to sniff the wine, clink the glasses. Then you can take your first sip, and then you can go sit down. I was like, oh, for God's sake. Because from his perspective, culturally speaking, I was being rude.
Yeah.
From my perspective, culturally speaking, I was being polite.
Right.
These are belief structures. I'm insecure. I think of ideas, but I don't believe I can implement them. Now that's very interesting again. Insecurity, I have no idea what that feels like, but I can answer the question.
That's okay.
And anybody who believes that, okay. I mean, about the insecurity. I can certainly answer the question. So, you remember I said about the operating system's faith and the backup is patience. And that's for everybody. This is true for everyone. Now, my teacher always said that every part of the plan of God has been duplicated. It has a below the line negative mirror. So the God of this world, just using it loosely, we don't have to define this, the God of this world, you think this is fun explaining this in English? I've just had to explain all this in French, so we're doing really well today. The God of this world, the operating system is fear. Mm-hmm. And the backup is doubt.
Yep.
Ooh. Now, how does this address your question? Where's your insecurity coming from? Where's your insecurity? Where's your insecurity? Where is it? What is the belief that is the result of which is insecurity for you? Because if you were running that faith and patience 100%, there would not be any insecurity. I'm not trying to make you wrong, whoever asked this question. It's a great question. We all have our bits where we forget who we are. That's what insecurity is about.
Yeah.
You've forgotten who you are. Okay, I don't want to fail. We'll get to that in a second, okay? But you'll notice that in our culture as a whole, especially at the moment, there's tremendous fear and doubt. And it's being fed deliberately by misinformation, by conspiracy theories, by this concept that there is a post-truth era and that facts are whatever we decide they are. That is such complete and utter BS. I'm sorry. Intelligence is about truth and light. Yes, it can look different at different levels, but there are some things that are actually true. Now, our interpretation might vary, but there is still a difference between truth and lies. And if you don't know that difference, then you need to work on your discernment and not pretend that misinformation has equal value to factual information. And you understand, Kevin, I'm not talking at you.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here going, go girl, you go girl.
Thank you so much. Okay, so one of the things that I say to people, especially in the political realm, because I'm surrounded, because I work more on the woo end of the spectrum. I'm surrounded by people say, oh, well, the government doesn't want you to know this other thing. Nonsense. Does this theory, whatever it is, does this belief add to your faith and patience? Or is it based on fear and doubt? Because if it's based on fear and doubt, turn and walk away. Because it's going to crash your computers sooner or later. I'm going to say that again in a slightly quieter voice. If our operating system, when we're functioning correctly, is faith and patience, and you are presented with a position that deliberately calls on, consciously or unconsciously, fear and doubt, then that is not a correct place for you to be energetically. That's where it's great to go to your muscle testing and check, is this obedient for me? Does this help me align with my divine blueprint? Now, getting back to the insecurity question. If you're insecure, that means you're running some kind of fear or doubt somewhere.
Or it could be a lack of self-confidence.
That's what I'm saying. A lack of self-confidence is fear or doubt.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah? It's saying I don't have that self-esteem. I don't have that. Now, of course, in Jutran, we have a correction for that.
And in hypnotherapy, we have a correction for that.
Yay! Okay, but mine's faster, so I'm going to throw it right in. Okay, right hand clockwise, over the heart on the midline, 4-2.
4-2.
All right, we just reset your self-esteem. Whee! Okay, so take that away and play with it. Now, so people don't want to fail. I get it. Okay, and a belief in failure is also a fear or doubt. You see, so when your computer is running properly with the correct operating system, it's just not an issue that's going to come up. It's not to say that you won't fail sometimes, but your interpretation of that failure is going to be significantly different.
Yeah.
So, I screw up all the time, sure. But I have a choice of response, which is either to beat myself up, which in the past has been fairly frequent, I must admit, or I can say, interesting. I guess I'm going to do that differently next time. Or,
yeah. And in hypnotherapy, we reframe it.
Exactly.
Instead of failure being a lack of success or a lack of something, it's getting you closer to what you want, because now you know that didn't work. And who was it? Thomas Edison, someone said, you've been trying for years to develop the light bulb.
Yeah, they're like 10,000 tries, something. Yeah.
10,000 tries. And Thomas Edison said, well, now I know that one didn't work, so I got to try another way.
Yeah, exactly. And we also have a geotrend correction for success.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so failure is just lack of success. Okay, so let me show you. All right, I'm just going to move my camera so you can see what I'm doing. So you see right here is your solar plexus, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right hand clockwise over the solar plexus, 2-2.
2-2.
Okay, so the pretest for that is I choose to succeed. Yeah? So if you say I choose to succeed and your muscle testing is weak, then you say, oh, okay, I just need that. 2-2. I choose to succeed. Ta-da! Look, 97% of people that I test prior to doing that, on some level, some percentage, they are not choosing to succeed. And again, not making anybody wrong. This is just part of the human condition. It's okay. It's easy to correct. Stop beating yourself up, please. Please stop beating yourself up. I mean, good thing I would never do that. Right. 2-2. I do it less. So sometimes these are really, really good questions. And sometimes we need to actually look at the question itself and say, what does this question mean to you? Where does that question take you? Because every question is capable of starting a train of creation. Now, geotrend, we talk about geotrend as being the art of the question, because when we ask the right questions, your computer just comes up with the answer. And we can tell from the answer whether something maybe needs to be adjusted a little bit. And the exception to this is you may have noticed this, Kevin, I never, ever, ever ask a why question. Never, 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 never. Mostly. Because if we look at how creation comes about, creation always starts with an unanswered question. Okay? Mm-hmm. And the answer is always truth and light. And that comes in assorted flavors according to whatever's going on. I'm saying on the divine level. So if you ask a why question, that's something your computer cannot find an answer to. But it will install a negative image in your subconscious. And if you don't catch it and clear it, you're going to start creating from that. Mm-hmm. Why does nobody love me? Why is it so difficult to make money? Why do my parents not understand me? Why do my children not understand me? Why does my spouse not understand me? Why do my cats not understand me? Actually, your cats do, but that's a different question. Anywhere you have that, and making a joke about it, but you see what I'm saying here? Anywhere you have that why question, it's just going to go round and round and round and round in your computers until your computers crash, until they stall out. Yeah. So be a little more careful. Now there was somebody who's an actual coach called Noah St. John, who took this concept. I so admire this. He took this concept and inverted it.
Ooh.
Yeah. This is how he did it. It's so fabulous. I don't think he even knows about the whole stream of creation based on why questions thing. Mm-hmm. I don't think he does. I think he just had this flash of genius. He said, why does money always come to me as soon as I need it? Why are all the right clients automatically coming my way? Why is it so easy for me to learn? Why is it so easy for me to succeed? Mm-hmm. Why is it that I just naturally have this really great marriage? He took that subconscious why process and said, how can I make that work for me instead of against me? Gotta love that.
Yeah.
So, for the people asking these very good, intelligent questions, seriously, really high quality questions, what would it be like if you were to say, why is it I succeed all the time? Almost in spite of myself. Why am I so secure in everything I'm doing? Why is it my beliefs always serve me? Why is it? Why do I have firm faith? Now that's a creation
Mhm.
that's worth setting in hand.
Yep, it is.
Yeah. As my teacher every so just occasionally would say, "Mwah, damn, I'm good." No, what she actually said is, "To God be the glory forever, amen." But every so often.
And that's
Yes.
your belief.
Yeah. There's my belief. There's
Yeah.
my belief. My belief is that whatever frequency or vibration we're aligning at, we're going to get more of the same.
Yes.
That's how the universe is set up. So for heaven's sake, make an effort to notice when you're going into fear and doubt, to say, no, I don't do that anymore. Just not beating yourself up, just let it go. Say, now, what does faith and patience say to me? Now, if you're in the Christian tradition, yeah, apparently I can't even say that today. If you're in the Christian tradition, faith might say to you, well, all things are impossible for me, but all things are possible for God in me, or through Jesus Christ. Or you can say, if you're not in a religious tradition, maybe a good thing to say to yourself is, you know what? Any righteous desire is my big spirit telling me what to align with, where to go, what my divine blueprint is about. If I have a consistent righteous desire, that's my big spirit saying, this way, this way, this way, not that way, this way, this way, this way, this way. Yeah? And if you can't get on board with any kind of spiritual life, like my friend who is a particle physicist and has been all his life, and thinks that what I do is impossibly woo-woo, even though what I see, what I do as being really scientific, but there you go. What I'll say to him is that really the vibration you're choosing for today? Well, it's reality. I said, that's a belief, sunshine. It's a belief that reality is always negative. And you can have that belief. I can't stop you from having it. I don't, but I don't want to be around it. Because my belief is that life is inherently good, that we are protected, that our job here is to glorify each other and ourselves, and to love each other from a full tank. And sometimes we have to work on the tank part a little bit more than others.
Yeah.
And that's where hypnotherapy is so useful.
Yes, because it can change. So, I always, belief is based on something, whether it's concrete or not.
Yeah, sure.
It's based on something. And right now, people seem to be having difficulty in believing some things of what's going on. And that's where you just have to rely on your faith.
Yes.
That what you are seeing is not something that you need to believe in, and being able to discern the difference.
Yes.
So in hypnotherapy, we can reinforce your belief. And if you are having difficulty and insecurities, we can help with that.
Mm-hmm.
So there are techniques that we do have to help people with their insecurities, and help to guide them to resources that can be trusted.
So much of our belief, like anything else at the soul level, so much of our belief is a matter of interpretation. I mean, if you don't mind my using you as an example, Kevin, for a second,
Go
be
ahead.
okay? Yeah, as you've said on several of our programs, you were adopted. And what I've noticed about that is that there is some part of you that believes or has in the past had the belief that therefore you were not enough, or that you were rejected, or that you were whatever.
Right.
And I
Right.
contrast that with we were working on a geotran call with somebody whose grandmother was the only member of her large Irish family who was sent on her own at the age of 13 to immigrate to the US.
Wow.
And she had a belief in rejection, in that somehow the family felt she was not good enough or whatever. She actually got to talk to one of the other people in the family who said, no, that's not what it was at all. It was that we all felt you were the one with the potential. You were the one who no matter what, would find a way to thrive. We were having this terrible situation in Ireland, and you were the brand saved from the burning because we loved you so much. And we were willing to let you go to a place where you could be safer and where things could be better for you. We maybe couldn't save ourselves, but we could save you.
So many children that were adopted in the 50s and the 60s, those were sealed adoptions.
Yeah.
And you know nothing. You are giving no information.
So it's all interpretation.
It's all interpretation.
Yeah.
And in my case, I did find my birth mother.
Yeah, I remember you saying,
She has now passed on,
yeah.
but I got to meet her at the end of her life. And we did have some open discussions.
That's great.
And she had a tremendous amount of guilt in giving me away.
See, which was her interpretation.
That was her interpretation. My interpretation was, you gave me the greatest gift that a mother could give.
Yeah.
You knew that you couldn't take care of me.
Right.
So you put your faith in that there would be another couple that could.
So the point about belief is, first, check whether it's your belief. Secondly, check whether it's an obedient belief for you. Thirdly, have a look at your interpretations, because beliefs, more than any other part of the psyche, are so prone to interpretation, which means the possibility of misinterpretation. Alas, we have come to yet again to the end of another program.
How did this happen? When did that started?
Believe me, we could be talking about these issues for a long time, but thank you for attending and listening today. And we're so happy to answer questions, and we're just so thrilled to have this opportunity. You can reach me on Facebook, Kira Dept. You can reach Dr. Kevin on Facebook at Kevin Richardson, and we love to hear from you. So we'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.